All right, good morning, traders. Welcome to the Bookmap All Markets webinar. This is Bruce at Bookmap. We'll go through the live order flow, also look for trading opportunities using Bookmap to understand the participants in the auction process. That is our goal, and that's what the order flow can show us, and that's what Bookmap can help us with as well. So once we start to identify their footprints in the sand with the order flow, then we can look for specific price movements to unfold. Okay, some risk disclosures though that go along with that. This is not a trading room. It is an order flow reading room, but we will take positions to show trade management and how you can consider moving your stops and placing your entries and exits, etc., with consideration to the order flow. That is the key, because a lot of education out there won't go through that. They don't go through too much about the trade management, which is essential. All right, general disclosure. All Bookmap Ltd materials, information, and presentations are for educational purposes only and should not be considered specific investment advice nor recommendations. Risk disclosure: trading futures, equities, and digital currencies involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. All right, we had this Axia Futures webinar. I'll be uploading those later today and sharing that information with you guys later. But we really had a great webinar. It was exactly about what we just talked about. Tired of getting stopped out in using the price action order flow to manage your trades with that in consideration. All right, so anyway, it was great. Let's take a look at what's going on right now. Look at the movement here. Really interesting order flow after some data you can see right here at 10 a.m. And then look at a high liquidity underneath at 55.30. Also here at 32.5, and we're finding buyers. Okay, so a little bit of a pullback right now, but looking for, let's see if we can get buyers to come right back in right now. And try to lift it up into this liquidity up here. Okay, here they come. In fact, that would be a potential tradable event. Now, what am I doing here? I'm jumping back to this S&P E-mini here. And then this one over here that I was just showing looks very different, right? Well, this is a filtered heat map in here. With our Trader Map Pro add-on. All right, so for example, we can filter out this behavior. If we go back to the S&P, see this behavior here? Okay, this, let me get the pen tool. The heat map in here is showing this kind of halo around price, right? On the bid and on the offer. It's just the condition of the auction right now. The Nasdaq has been showing this for quite a while. You can jump over here and you can see it in here in the Nasdaq, but we can filter this out with the heat map Trader Map Pro product. And what this will do is very simply you can see a little bit remnants of it in here. If we jump back in here, see the this liquidity in here is constantly changing, right? It's like a stacker algo that you know is staying like 5 points away, 5 S&P points away from current price action. So what we can do is filter out this activity by the time that they're in the market or how long they're at a price level. Because we know it's high liquidity, that's for sure because of the color. However, it's not in the market for very long. It just keeps on moving, right? So we want to filter that out. And then this is what it looks like when we do that. You can see the remnants in here a little bit. But this guy meant to trade. He stayed in the order book. He never did trade, but he stayed in the order book. These guys in here, they traded. This liquidity here transacted. Here's the transaction right into it. Okay, this gives us enhanced insight. Okay, so now after trading back down here, let's see if we can get those buyers again right now, and I'd look for it to lift right up into 36 and a half, 37. Okay, that's the opportunity, and we can even look at that as a tradable event here. High liquidity just underneath there, and we're just missing it here, but it's a bit of a scalp at this point. There's also a lesson learned from last time. I've done this many times in this webinar of reading the order flow and jumping right in, and because it just looks like a really good opportunity. I've had it enough times that we won't do it. What we're going to do first is look at the bigger picture, right? Look at our candlestick chart on the daily, the hourly, and the 15-minute. And here's exactly why. This move up in here on the 15-minute chart. Okay, now we might get a breakout here. The daily over here looks pretty good if we can get back up into these areas up here. But we need to see these buyers come in. Hourly here, we just see a handful of wicks up here. 15-minute chart, a handful of wicks after filling the gap here. Okay, now there's some positive notes in here though. In this 15-minute chart, this is now the third attempt up here. Okay, so yeah, I'm looking for these buyers up here. We made a slightly higher high as well, so everything is looking pretty good if we continue to get aggressive buyers. Okay, then we look for them to lift it back up into this kind of 40 level up here, 55.40. Right, so other than that though, we're going to stay away until we get more clarity from that buy side. Okay, makes sense. Okay, because right now we see some selling coming in. Well, that's kind of a surprise because we've been hanging out up here after a strong move up here, and for the last half hour you can see that we've stayed up in this range up here, and that is bullish. Okay, now that doesn't mean that sellers might come in and might not come in and take price all the way back down here. Okay, we don't know, but we're going to look at again the kind of footprints in the sand and start to understand what's going on here. Okay, so yeah, let's take a look here. All right, so yeah, it was very short-lived. We didn't even get up into that 36 liquidity or very high liquidity up here around this 40 level. Okay, so just dipping below here and into this where the buying came in earlier here. Okay. All right. Just a moment, guys. Okay. All right. Well, let's see. We're getting more sellers again. All right. So we see this big down move here. That was kind of a surprise, right? Here's the buying. Look at the buying interest that comes back in here. Pretty paltry so far. Now we don't know. Again, we're going to wait and watch, and we're going to see if we get maybe more buying back up in here, and then get a reattack not only this 29 or 30 level here, but maybe back to these highs, and then this high liquidity up at 40. Okay, so maybe this was just kind of a shakeout move below all of these swings down in here for today. It looks like it so far as we start to see the buyers pick up in here. Okay, this is the place to look for it to retest right here at this 29 3/4 or 30 level here. Let's see. Yeah, it's 30. All right, let me see if there's any questions on this. There are so many different opportunities in here. It's just it's all over the place. I want to kind of stay away from them though on these very low time frames, but we will talk about them though and what we're looking for to unfold. Because otherwise, like, we're just taking a trade here, taking a trade there, whatever, and that doesn't really necessarily help you guys. But if we see a good scalp for 2, 3, 3 to 5 points or something like that, then yeah, why not? Of course. But anyway, here's the reason that we're looking for the move back up to here. Now, structurally, you can see it here in the order flow, but we also have high liquidity here at 30, and we have the big transaction into and through that area. So we would look for a retest back to here, and we'd look to see if we get more sellers come back in. And that's exactly what we see so far, as well as high liquidity here on the offer. All right, so we got kind of a battle going on back and forth. Anyway, what I was going to say is, like, if you do see that and you start to see these buyers start to come in and trade above this area here as well, then that's what you'd look for is the next area here, and that's exactly what it did. Now this is the next area that we're looking for support here, at least by market structure, and we're going to also look for other reasons. Is it clear on the market structure? Good morning, Stephen. Good morning, Caesar. Yeah, webinar is yesterday. Yesterday was excellent on trader psychology with Donkey Face and Sean. Yeah, we'll think of ways how we can do maybe some more with them. All right, so anyway, market structure wise, this is what we're looking for in here. I just don't see a lot of liquidity to support that at this time. Okay, but this would be your resistance here, this would be your support here, and you can see it's playing out pretty well so far. But now I'm really interested up here if we get more buyers. And we've got high liquidity that is staying in the book in here. In fact, let's open up our trade control panel. Just get ready. All right. And then our Trader Map Pro, let's go back and take a look here. A nice one here in Trader Map Pro, captured not only this high liquidity here, I mean, that's an easy one for it, but here as well. Okay, and then up here now too. So up at this 31 level. So pretty interesting here. Let's see if did we capture it over here? Yeah, a little bit. You can see it 31 here, but we don't see it really over here. Yeah, it's very faint in there. Now, why is it so faint in here? Is because of this liquidity kind of is higher. There's more liquidity here that's constantly changing. So it makes this area look dimmer, right? What we look at over here, though, is that high liquidity is kind of out of the picture now. So this one shows up much better, right? So a lot of additional insight using this Trader Map Pro. Now, if you're interested in that, is all part of the MBO bundle. Okay? And it makes sense that we did that because this Trader Map Pro product only works with market by order data from the CME. Okay, it will not work on stocks. It will not work on crypto. Okay, so and it will have to be CME, and you'll have to have rhythmic data, okay, or bookmap data, or any data provider that offers high quality MBO data. Okay, so now this becomes resistance up here. We traded into it, failed to find buyers, trade through it, and now we're starting to see the support come in down here around this 27 level. Okay, they're breaking out above this resistance level into this liquidity up here at 32. There's the move. Book looks pretty good here, and finding some buyers. I'm just not convinced by it. Here's why. We have high liquidity. This is where the sellers came in and really dropped it up here. You can see it kind of trickling off here, but this is really where it picked up right here. And that's exactly where we are right now. Yeah, this weird brackety thing on the NQ is now on the ES. Well, I'm with you, Shark and Alois. It's I think it is here to stay for a little bit in the ES, but then it will probably get washed out. The reason being is like we get larger players. I mean, this is a pretty sensitive area up here. Look at the daily, and I mean, isn't this looking like just a beautiful flag pattern up here? Strong move, strong breakout into all-time highs, and yeah, of course, we see some selling up in here, but it's just flagging. And let's look at the hourly in here. So. Yeah, this is pretty strong, moving away from this was on Friday, right? That move up and then that move down and through back down into the lows here around 55.11 and went down to 04, and then it's been bouncing around since the last couple of days here. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, I think it's gonna. We've seen this before. It kind of hangs out in the market for a bit, but then that behavior kind of goes away, and we get a lot more participants in here. Now the NQ though, it's been in here for a while, and I hope that well, we've seen it in the past where it stays in there for a bit and then goes away. But this one has been pretty pervasive this time. So yeah, I hope it goes away as well. It just makes reading the heat map much easier. Okay, this is starting to look like SPY instead. Yeah, the Trader Map Pro works really well on the NQ. Come back down here. Create a new one. We have the NQ selected already. We're going to add it here, add the filter. order change filter. Okay, that's what we selected right here, changed. Show orders that were changed, but click on the drop down. We want the ones that were not changed by price or by size. Okay, and then we're going to click play. That's it. That's all you need to do. And then here's our NQ. And then let's wait for it to populate and put some data in there. Okay. Okay, this is kind of unique, but see, look at the reaction up here. High liquidity, really kind of curbed that buying appetite up at the high here, and we're finding sellers. Okay, so now sellers, where are they going to drop it? Probably, looking for this swing here, down to 25. Okay, maybe we can go down to a lower swing here as well, 23, 24. Yeah, pretty strong selling now. Yeah, I mean it will transact, Shark. It's just it looks like it never transacts. There is positioning in queue really, and you'll see sometimes like right in here. See how it stayed in the order book a little bit, and then maybe that player came in again up here. Yeah, it'll transact, but right now it's just running, and then you'll see every now and then they'll stop the activity, and that's when we want to look when they stop and stay in the order book. That's where we'll get the insight. Yeah, let's take a look at that NQ and what it looks like. Yeah, did a pretty good job pulling it out of the NQ. Okay, so NQ is actually looking pretty good. Just traded up to that liquidity here. But let's see if the NQ can get up to this. It's just at 240. I think I'm looking for this kind of 250 area up here. Okay, so there's some high liquidity right there at 30, just or 30 and a half that just transacted. Okay, following the NQ as well. Okay, backed up to the swing. All right, let's take a step back. Let's look at the bigger picture. And here's our 930 cash open. Beautiful continuation pattern right here. Move up and pull back and then move up again. So impulse move followed by a bit of a pullback in here. Okay, pretty picture perfect. And then followed again by, look at the buying starting to come back in again. Would love to see this kind of meet it doesn't quite meet all the criteria that we look for in this pattern, but looks there's a lot of it. We'd like to see high liquidity up underneath. We kind of see it here, and these buyers starting to come in here. All right. Any questions, guys? Like, it's been kind of quiet in here lately. Oh, one note for Bookmap Academy members. So we will not meet this Thursday. It's 4th of July. So the markets are closed. In fact, markets are closed tomorrow, half day. All right, so tomorrow's going to be, we don't have any events. We canceled all events for Wednesday and Thursday. All right, so let's see here if are we starting to look a little bit bullish in here. It's, you know, I mean, we're right at the most traded level in here for the day, as by looking at our volume profiles in here. So I'm going to hold off, but we're seeing the buying starting to mount up here after this big sell-off here. You know, let's see if we can get a bit more in here. I'd love to see the buyers reattack the highs here. Okay, now for them to move away from in this area in here, this really big high volume node in here, or you know, a lot of trading activity in here, we got to see a lot of buyers. Or we get down into this area down here and we got to see a lot of sellers. Okay, this is an area of value right now, and we need something to move it away from that value area. What is it going to be? And it has to be traders. It has to be volume. Okay, so let's see here. Now we just traded up to this high liquidity here. Okay, they're on the bid as well here, 31.5. And more buyers. So yeah, we would look for a measured move back up into about here, 35. Okay, again, I'm going to hold off on this one. Just by the order flow in here, it's not bad actually. We traded in this liquidity. They're on the bid here. We're still finding some buyers in here. I just don't see the appetite though. It's just not that convincing. Okay. I mean, the move we're looking for is back up here to 35. All right, let's take a step back. Let's look at our bigger picture. So that's still looking good here. 15-minute chart. So we were looking at this candle here earlier. Came all the way down, traded to kind of the wicks down here. It rejected. It came back in, and now this is the 1, 2, 3, 4th time up here. Okay, and we're still finding buyers. So I would look for the buyers to break this and trade back up into this 40 area here. And let's take a look here. All right, so yeah, just made it up into this 35 level. Still holding the trend here. All right, guys, you know what? We're going to open up another, get some additional insight. The MarketPulse tool that you guys have been asking about this one, the pace of tape. We showed it, I think, last week, and really got some nice insights, but we'll show it again in here. All right, I'm going to open that up, and maybe we can look for some scalps in here with it. So we got MarketPulse here. Here it is. Okay. Pace of tape's all ready to go. All right, let's go. Let's add a couple more in here. All right, we've got price change, which is another good one. In fact, let's play that one as well. And we're going to add one more in here. We're going to look at the volume pressure imbalance. Okay, this one everyone loves. Okay. Tape, volume pressure, and price change. Okay. See if we get any additional insights in here. All right, sellers, let's see if they can hit down into 32 here. It did break that trend line. It's pretty aggressive though, move up. And this has been flagging so far. We don't see a whole lot of selling in here. This is something to cover in here. When we're looking at this kind of move in here, this kind of flagging pattern in here, we're not looking for a reversal. And the reason being is this: look at the order flow in this structure. Now, this is something that Shark, we talked about actually in detail last week about the 1, 2, 3 pattern, and what we want to understand and where price might go is by understanding the volume and order flow within this little area in here, in this back and forth. So for example, if this is your 1, 2, 3 pattern in here, how does this volume look overall? We're not getting much insight at all here. We're looking right at it, and I see buyers and sellers and nothing big. Nothing's giving us much insight. This little bit of buying coming in right now is giving us a bit more insight that we're still looking for this higher liquidity up in these levels here to trade, but it's not much. This is not convincing at all. See if there's any questions on YouTube. Is a bracket order being placed by the CME? No, it's a player actor in here, some algo. Yeah, we've been looking at the NQ a bit. I don't know if that answered your questions. Look at this algo activity right in here, guys. Chasing up after and getting filled in here. So they really wanted to buy there, and they bought, right? So price went against them a little bit. And then look at this in here. Interesting order flow. High liquidity again, but now we found buyers. Here we found these are buyers here, and the sellers took them on and dropped through. They're offering on the bid, and we found aggressive buyers in here trade through. And then look at again here, right? So you can see how you can start to build a bullish case in here. So let's see now. We're looking for more buyers and to lift it back up to probably here, this 89.90 level here. Let's see if we can get it. No, not getting anything near that. Okay, here they go. And now I'd be looking for it. Test back up here. No, we're just not finding the buyers up here. Let's see. We got to come up here. We got to find the buyers. And we didn't. Yep. All right, so we're here in our pace of tape pickup on the buy side here in the ES. Let's jump over. Let's take a look at this ES. And I'm going to get rid of subchart in here. We'll hear it instead. All right, so pace of tape picking up that's a bullish thing. And I don't see sellers here. Get a bit more buying in here. Let's see if they can break this level here and trade just up to 37, 38 and a half or so. Yep, looking for it. Shoot, I did not have this ready. Okay. You trade supply and demand. What would be some triggers for a Bookmap? Well, supply and demand works. I mean, it's all about looking at supply and demand. Precisely that here in Bookmap. Okay, so where is their supply? It's up here. Where is their demand? It's down here on the bid. Okay, now again, we covered that Trader Map Pro. Let's just jump over to that to show it a little bit better in here. It kind of filters out some of that algorithmic activity that is kind of making things harder to read. But in the Trader Map Pro in here, now we're looking at that longer term liquidity. It stays in here a bit longer and starting to understand it. And that gives us additional insight here. So yeah, and they're pulling up here. So that supply up here is no longer here, or it's starting to pull away, right? When we see buyers come up an inch toward them. All right, so now if we see more demand at a higher level and we get buyers like this, we look for the move up into this liquidity. Okay, as simple as that. This is playing out pretty nicely, actually. It's that combination precisely of supply and demand that helps you trigger your entries here. Okay, unfortunately, I cannot trade off the Trader Map Pro. We're working on that, guys, so you can trade off of this chart. It's a synthetic instrument that we created here, basically. Okay, see, does that make sense to you? We can go through that example again. This is precisely what we look for. High liquidity here. Okay, great. We know there's supply up here. The question is, what about the demand? Okay, well, we're finding demand. These aggressive buyers in here are trading into this liquidity here. So a lot of it was pulled, but they still traded into this area and through it. We look for the aggressor sellers in here, market sell orders, and they're failing to make it down into these lower levels in here. Instead, we're finding buyers, and now they're pulling up here. We're finding buyers again. What does the demand look like from the aggressors? Is pretty good, but look at the bid in here. See the bid as well. There's more liquidity and more support, more demand at these higher levels. Therefore, we have, it's not an equation, but we have a scenario where it is more likely that these buyers now can break away from this area and trade up into here. And at this point, that's all we're looking for, is just the trade up into here. Okay, and we got it, right? We don't know what's going to happen after that, and we can see that we sold off after that. Right, so again, it's one of those days in here, but for the short term, you can look for these things to unfold. The question is now, once that move has unfolded up here, what does it look like? What about the supply and demand up in here? Okay, or support and resistance, however you want to call it. We've got Carmine Rosado always talking about support and resistance. I kind of prefer supply and demand of just really basic economics, and I think it resonates a little bit better. Anyway, it's just terminology. Reminds me of my economics 101 class. But anyway, and what happened up here? Well, high liquidity here. Okay, the bid or the offer goes into it, but not even one contract traded here. So they never took this on. This supply kind of dominated, and we had a little more supply here on the sell side. So the aggressors here, and look at the buying up here. This is exhaustion up here. And now we can look at this in here, and you can look at your cumulative volume delta down here as well. Okay. Now I'm going to cover the cumulative volume delta in here, but we don't really need it. You know that there's going to be some divergence here. You know that. And you don't really need it for that. What you need to understand is the appetite of the buyers up in here. You can see them buying away up in here, but it's kind of small. Okay, here's a lack of buying. Sellers came in and they're just able to drive it down a little bit lower. They come right back up here, and then up at this level is where we need to see the buyers at 38. Did we get them? Very little, and then none. And then we see sellers starting to come in here. Okay, this is where now you know that there is more supply than there is demand. Therefore, we look for the supply to explore an area until we find demand, and that demand is down here. Okay, so it would be somewhere around this 35.5 to 35. And did we go there? Okay, just shy of it. Then we kind of go back and forth in here. Again, more supply, and we're finding more supply here as well. There's no buying, there's no demand. So sellers are able to take it through that area. We also have more liquidity here on the offer below the swing, or below this swing here. Okay, this is looking like a move to cap it, keep price from coming back up into this area in here. We see a lot of sellers, and then we see more sellers on the offer up in here. Okay, so if we don't find buyers, then this is more supply in here that's going to allow for it's kind of a resistance area at that point. And we look for more and more sellers to come in, and that's exactly what unfolded here. And now that was easy to run through in hindsight. Okay, we do it here in real time as well, though. Okay, and also we'll take small positions in here to look for some of those. Just to go through how to use your supply and demand as well for trading and your trade management. Okay, now look at the process repeat here. It's pretty interesting. Now look at the demand coming in. Did we find sellers? Just right now, a little bit of selling. Okay, they're on the bid here, more demand at a higher level. Okay, and then the supply is up here. Okay, back to exactly where we just dropped from, up here around this 38 level. That's the back and forth activity we're seeing here in the market. Now note the swings as well. Okay, the market structure. And this is what the market is all about. Okay, it's not about moving averages. It's not about Bollinger Bands or derivatives of time and price and volume. It is about precisely this supply and demand. Okay, now we can zoom into much smaller time frames, and the same thing applies. Okay, you'll see the same things in here. Okay, so here's more demand, more supply, taking it down. I'm looking for a little bit more selling here, and they should be able to drop it into 30. Okay, Let's see who's getting interesting here. All right, there's some more. Look at that and that. All right, sellers, let's see if you can hit it. Now, there is one caveat on that, because we're looking for the sellers to hit it down into this 30 level, and that's that, right? Until we see something else. Now, there is a caveat here, a big one, is that we also look for trapped volume in here. For example, in this little area in here, what if? Okay, what if we see all this selling coming in, but they fail to make it down into this 30 level? Okay, 30 just transacted, right? So what if we got buyers here? Okay, now we're getting them here actually. I like that. I think that buyers now have the chance to move it back up to here. Okay, 34.5, right? So this is what we'd look for. They're pulling. We're finding buyers, so we're looking for these buyers to reach the sellers up in here. I hope this simplifies things. Even for the expert trader in here, I would imagine you'd probably you wouldn't disagree. This is really what makes up the market. The market is made up of orders. If there are no orders, there is no market. It's as simple as that. Okay, so and why I bring this up, C, was we're talking about the and I'm sorry, I'll get back to your questions in here, guys. I didn't. I've been kind of on a roll here, so we'll get. Let me address some of these questions in here. Again, looking pretty good in here for these buyers to reach back up into higher liquidity here. And look at what a frustrating day this is. But if you're just understanding this, you're understanding this price action due to the supply and the demand in here. I mean, it's really a frustrating day. You'd have to be in and out of this thing all day long, or we'd be not hyper scalping it, but we would be scalping it for a few points here, a few points there, and it would add up though. There'd be a couple losses, of course, here and there, but for the most part, we've been hitting it or looking for these moves to unfold, and they have. So that can add up pretty quickly here, especially if you're trading multi-contracts. You can make a few S&P points, and you could be done for the day with something like that. You don't have to be looking for these massive moves and try to nail the market. We take what the market gives us. Right? You think, let's see here. Let me get to a few questions here in Discord. Guys, over in YouTube, if you have not come over to our Bookmap Discord, you might want to. We have really great discussions over here. And we have a Bookmap Academy. We have, oh God, how many streamers do we have now? Live streaming. Let me just show you here. You go to bookmap.com and click on education here. And then this is the Learning Center. And then you can see our calendar here. Join a free event. And this will scroll you down here. Actually, oh no, we've gotten rid of them. Yep. So Wednesday, Thursday, you can see we're off. Markets are closed. No events, but typically every day. Look at all these events. So we have like all of these guys here. Let me show you streaming for us. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have 23 streamers, okay, all week long. So that's over in our Discord channel, and if you want to join us over there, it's a good resource. All right, let me get back to the questions. I think it's the Bookmap shadowy figures that are trying to get us to buy the TraderMap Pro. That is pretty funny, Caesar. I appreciate that. Yeah, good one. Yeah, I mean, look, it's boy, it makes it easier. That's for sure. And I hand it to the developers. Pretty creative solution in here with that MBO bundle or MBO data. Bigger picture in here, even in TraderMap Pro, it looks like it wants to trade 40, 41, 41, 42. It really does. Let's take a look at our bigger picture in here. Again, we've been talking about that on the 15-minute chart and the hourly. We're finding these buyers up in here. It's been painful, but we're finding them. So here we go. Let's see if they can break it here. And at least trade back up into this 40 level here. Yeah, it looks good. Looks good. Let's zoom in a little bit here. Now, we never know when that move is going to happen, but we look at, again, the kind of footprints in the sand here. Yeah, we've traded back down here. You see that we rejected, so now we have the potential to break out. Okay, so looking for them to trade back up here. Pace of tape is picking up. That's a good sign as well. So let's see if we can trade up into this 40 level here. All right, we'll take a quick shot at it here. Let's see if we get it, and we'll put a stop in. And we're going to hide our stop down below here. Okay, and we're going to move our take profit here. Let's see, time of day. It's 11 o'clock here, East Coast time. Maybe we'll leave it up here. Maybe we will get our big breakout here. But I would look for just shy of 40 here. This has been a painful kind of march up. But maybe we've got enough sellers in here trapped now, especially after this move here, that we can get a huge stop run to the upside. And maybe we can get filled up here at 41. Okay. Okay, now where am I wrong on this? Okay, well, I would be wrong down here at 35. Okay, so we keep our stop down here at 33.5, and then we're just going to read the order flow in here. Okay, so here come our aggressors back up here. It looks pretty good. Let's see if they can continue. And then what have we got here on the in the order book? Boy, not much. Don't see a whole lot of activity here in the on the bid. And not hearing much at all either. There's a little bit of a bid in here, a little bit. Okay, so just we need to convince buyers to buy and to trade up into this 40 level. Okay, that's not what we're looking for right here. Exhaustion 3 times and some selling down here. Okay, so if we don't get our buyers up here right now, then maybe it's time to exit. Okay, let's keep our finger on the trigger here. Again, exhaustion up here, not good, not what we're looking for. I'm going to exit it and just forget about it. Okay, we can always get back in. Now we're getting our buyers. Hmm. Okay, more buyers. You have a supply and demand CJ at 40, where the liquidity is. I'm not trading right now, but makes sense if the trade, if aggressors were to confirm. Yeah, I agree totally. Let's go back and look at the questions here in YouTube. I saw quite a few. The light color, dark color. So this is the lack of liquidity. The scale is right up here in the top center of the chart. You can dim it here as well. We usually use it about half dimmed. But very high liquidity is this orange and red right here. And then yellow, white, blue, and then black is the least amount of liquidity. Okay, so this is very low liquidity in here. And then the high liquidity is up here at 40. So this is where the supply is. Okay, this is where the demand is down here. And it's not a whole lot. Okay, let's see if these actually, it's been really back and forth in here. And I'm really kind of curious though, like, and this happens on exactly these kinds of days in here. There's not a whole lot of data. We've got a few days off and starting tomorrow. So half day tomorrow. And what happens is you get these kind of like just partial breakouts and partial breakdowns, and then it reverses back into the range, maybe to the other side of the range, and get that partial again, and then etc. So that was some of the reasoning in here. Is just like, the order flow in here wasn't supporting our view, even though it did partially break out here. I don't like it, and I'm not going to hold this and have it come back down into these lower levels in here, and allow that to happen. If it's telling me something in here, then I'm just going to exit. All right. So anyway, yeah, so we just kind of came down to the bottom of this little range with some selling in here. And we're actually kind of looking for, so, we were just covering these traps in here. And we know that on days like today, now this makes perfect sense and clarity, is that you get buyers and sellers trapped. These are the ones moving the market, because once they sell here, they are buyers now in the market. And we look for stop runs. Like here's a stop run to the upside. Here's a stop run to the upside. Okay, so identifying trapped buyers and sellers in here on days like today can be a really, really beneficial thing to do. Okay, so for example, these are buyers here that could be trapped. Okay, where will they be sellers? So, and we can even anticipate those kinds of moves in here. Okay, if we see a lack of buyers up here and we start to see sellers here, I'm looking for them to drop it. So let's see if we can maybe capture one of those here. Okay, so we're going to put in a sell stop. Okay, so these would be the buyers we're looking for being trapped, and they would have to sell down into here. Okay, we're not selling up here because we don't know how much demand they have. We would sell down here, If especially, I mean, we need to see them come in. If we might just get tripped up in this really quickly in here, but we would be selling down here, and then with the idea that these are the traders in here that have to cover. Okay, let's see if we get sellers right here at our 37.5, a little bit, not much. In fact, maybe we can even get more aggressive here. There we are. We're in the market now, and looking for a bit more selling here. On sellers right here at 37.5. That's what we need to see, and now we need to see them move the market. Okay, and that would be the trap, and then we would look for not much, just down to here. Okay, so down to where they're going to be stopped out. We're looking for this is our stops and icebergs here, and we're looking for them to get stopped out here. Okay, we don't see the stop yet. We don't see the stop run. Okay, so actually I'm going to move my take profit down here then. Okay, because I'm looking for the stop run. I'm looking for these trapped buyers to be sellers, and I don't see them being sellers yet. Make sense? Okay, now let's see if we get our follow through. If we don't, I can move my stop down to here, and this is where we're wrong in this scenario here, and we might be wrong here. Okay, if we get buyers back up here. Okay, so we're looking for a squeeze here. We're still looking for it, and we got to get our sellers here. And we're not going to get it. Yeah, we're stopped out on that one too. Okay, so we got stopped out here for a tick. Now the question is, like, we can use the same logic in here for that move up into 40. Hey, do we see a lot of trap sellers in here? Yeah, there's some down here, and there's a bit in here. Not too many though. That's why we were looking for the stop run to the downside. Okay, I'm still just seeing more buyers and more buyers. Now that might be enough to reach 40 now. But we're talking about well, two different things here, and they're very different. Okay, one is the trap. Okay, now the trap is really nicely set here. If we don't see the buyers able to take it higher here. Now the other one is just regular, supply and demand. We're still finding demand up in these areas up in here. Still finding demand. We don't see much on the bid though, but the supply up here is holding pretty firm at 40. So if these buyers want to meet the sellers, this is where they are, and that's what we've been covering the majority of the webinar here. Does that make sense? Is that clear? Like there's, and especially like on days like today, we've seen this back and forth in here. The bubbles sometimes above and above the yeah, no, I mean here we can they have to be on the best bid or offer, but a lot of times these stop runs in here, you'll see transactions off of the best. Here's the best offer, and these are transactions here. It's correct. This, we're down at milliseconds in here, right? This is like 30 milliseconds here, and this is like it's a stop run. It's a book sweep here of one tick, and there's a lot of stops that transacted up here, and then the best bid and offer update. Okay, so that's what happened. This is correct in its display. Okay, now we look at our pace of tape picking up here on that sell side. Let's come in here and take a look and see what's going on. Boy, if that pace, I mean, pace of tape's a great one. I really like this MarketPulse algo here. All right, so again, I'm looking for sellers down at the bottom edge here. Okay, maybe even a little bit higher here. And I don't see a whole lot of trap. Now it's maybe starting to mount a little bit more trap selling in here. We can look at cumulative volume delta, give us a little bit more insight as well. In this area for sure. Not a whole lot in here though, and very little in here. It's mostly buyers in here. Michael, do you have any so Nick, I answered your question. Let me get to C. He said if we see an aggressor move before the high liquidity is tested, does this mean speak to the strength of the passive orders? Yeah, I mean it means that basically there was, like, for example, right now, if we don't see the buyers up here, and well, the buyers up here, if they do come up here but don't trade into that high liquidity, okay, well then it's showing that they're not willing, or they cannot take on, they don't have enough demand to take on this supply here, is simply what it means. That happens all the time. Okay. Now, if the buyers, if there is that demand, they'll trade right into this very, very quickly. Okay, one of the things too you can look for that maybe even helps a bit more with this idea of traps is looking for that partial breakout like this, and then there's just no more demand up here. That's where we can look for the supply here, for example, and let's see if they can take it down right now. Okay, so let's see if they can move it down to where? Well, 35, this demand down here. Okay, and we don't know, right? But we're looking for that. Okay, it was not able to trade up into that supply up here, but maybe this is low enough to find some demand here. I don't see it. I'm looking actually for these guys to get stopped out. And it's been one loser after another here. Just trying to see if this can play out, and it's just not. Yeah. All right, we're going to get stopped out again. It's possible we could stay in this actually. Let's see. Let's see. So it broke out again by a tick or two here. Interesting. Okay, now let's see if that supply really comes in here and drives it down to this 35 level here. And we're really looking for them to hit it hard here. And we're looking for our big stop run here to the downside. Still finding demand, still finding it. And let me see, Michael, do you have any videos on how to set up program? Yeah, we have all sorts of videos. Let me show you that. Let's see what kind of unfolds here. If we do get this scenario here of you know, the looking for that stop run here to the downside and breaking this level here. Okay, it looks pretty good. Yeah, the pace of tape really picking up here. Price change picking up. Okay, European close coming up, guys, as well here pretty soon. So maybe some traders are starting to sell off here. Well, that was it. Just below these swings here, or just to this swing here. Not down to the liquidity. Pretty random stuff, guys. Pretty random stuff. We're hoping that get that scenario. We see that there were some stops here triggered, but we see buy stops being triggered on the way up as well. It's kind of that kind of edge we're trying to get here of like these buyers up in here becoming sellers down here. I mean, we can see some of that here, right? But we see that now there's also seller, or you know, this buying in here is also stop run to the upside. So it's pretty random back and forth in here. High liquidity just came in a little bit above our take profit here, as you guys can see. So see this area in here. So actually, let's get in front of that area here. We want to get filled in front of him. Okay, so because remember we were looking at this liquidity down here, right? And we were trying to get filled in front of that guy. Now he moved his liquidity up. He wants to be a buyer at a higher level. Therefore, we'll take our profit there. Okay. All right. Well, so we got filled on that one, and so we're down a tick for the day. But that was the kind of the move we were looking for, talking about. Let's just recap a little bit here. So there's two different things that we covered. One is starting to understand these elements on the chart here, the liquidity, the aggressors, and we talked about supply and demand a lot. Okay, that this is supply up here. Also, this the aggressors here that move price lower, the market sell orders. This is also supply. We just don't know how much there is there. Liquidity, well, at least liquidity that stays in the order book, we know how much is there, right? As long as it stays there and no one gets in front of it. That's how we can start to measure the supply up in these areas with liquidity. Now with the aggressors, we never know how much. We can look at exhaustion maybe, but we can start to look at this consistency in that selling or supply. And then the demand, the same thing. And it makes sense, like, if we do continue to get more buying at higher levels in here, we will probably continue to find more buyers explore higher levels, as long as we don't get sellers. Okay? Just, very simple supply and demand in here. Also talking about these areas of liquidity. Now that was one big direction we were talking about today. The other one was talking about the trapped traders in here. Okay, so for example, exploring an area, trapping some sellers, selling the breakdown here, and then having buyers come back in and having these guys in here that sold at these levels in here become the buyers on the other side, and it fuels the move. Okay, and a lot of days when there's not a lot of directional trading activity, this is what makes up a lot of the price action, right? And we can look at that and we can identify it, and we can start to look for opportunities around that as well. All right, so let me see. Michael, did I answer your question? Do you have any? Okay, so videos on that. Yeah, let me show you that. Again, go to bookmap.com and our learning center. Go to education here. Okay, that'll take you to the learning center. And then all sorts of videos in here about, I would recommend that you first start here, getting started, and then those 3 elements on the chart that we just talked about. There's a video here that's 2.5 minutes basically. Here, how to add symbols, how to navigate around the Bookmap chart, displaying elements. What about the volume dots? You can filter the volume, the clustering, and the dots. And then the liquidity heat map. There's all sorts of different filtering and settings in here as well. So this should answer a lot of questions for you. And that is the getting started course here. Now, a lot of the things that we talked about in terms of market mechanics today, you can find it here in this course. And I would highly recommend that you check at least part 1 here. What we go through is exactly this kind of, in a kind of the same things that we were just covering, but in a more of a diagram form here. Okay. And being able to understand that, oh, okay, look at all of this supply comes in and skews the order book. There's massive supply. Do you find buyers interested in trading with all that massive supply? If you do not, they can sweep the order book if there's less liquidity down here, and you'll see a sweep to the downside. Okay, so actually we're hearing it right now. This is, well, we don't see the big stop run yet. Maybe we'll get it here soon. Maybe we got to get below this swing here. Okay, so let's see. Now, if that is the case, you can also look for and start to not only look for these stop runs and supply to come in, you can talk about another trade idea of mean reversion back to the point of control. Now, all of that, what it means is that and it's try to simplify things with the auction and a lot of the terminology. You don't really, I mean, it's important to use the right terminology, but we don't want to get kind of lost in a lot of fancy terminology. Instead, we just want to simply understand the condition of the auction, the buyers and sellers, and what their activity is. That's what we want to read. And we can attach a name to it, and this one would be mean reversion trade. okay, back to the high volume node here. Okay, are we going to get that? Well, right now you can see what we did. We just traded down to this swing, and we found a bit of buyers trade it right back to where they just dropped it. Okay, now let's look at the condition here as well. This is interesting stuff. Here we see stop run, right? Down to here. So this is the stop run. What about this in here? That's new selling. These are sellers looking for it to drop, right? So now, if you don't see a lot of, if you see more buyers come back up into this area in here, now we would be looking for the stop run to the upside here. If these are new sellers, where are they going to be buyers? They're going to be buyers up above here at 37. Okay, so again, using the stops and icebergs in here is really kind of interesting thing. Now, if you don't get the buyers up here, they're not able to ignite those stops. Well, then sellers remain in control regardless of a stop run. Doesn't matter. Okay. Yeah, hope this makes sense in here. Yeah, there's our. This is going to be our stop run here, guys. Okay, here it is. So you know, and this is right before the London close here. Let's see if we get enough buyers now to trade up into 40 and 42 now. And that's what we're kind of looking for this whole session. Okay, now I didn't put an order in here, but this is exactly the kind of activity I was looking for earlier, as in terms of a stop run. And I was thinking, or we were covering this in here, and boy, I would have liked to, you know, have jumped in on this one to trade it back up into 40 and maybe 42. All right, so we identified though some of the potential fuel here. Okay, these sellers after the stop run, these are new sellers, and there'll be buyers up into 40. All right, let me see if there's any questions in here. Skrilla, how do you place your stop based off of levels after seeing rejection of a certain level? It's really, again, behind the where are you wrong really, and like we just had that Axia Futures webinar, and that's really, I like what they said there about that's the golden rule. Where are you wrong? Okay, so let's suppose that you were a seller in these areas in here. Well, if you had a really aggressive stop, I mean, you're definitely, this is telling you you're wrong. So what do you want to place your stop up here? I wouldn't. Not at that point. I would be exiting in here, because I would be like, oh boy, I got caught up in it here. And this happens to the best of us. It doesn't matter. Like, but where are you wrong? And where can you admit it? If you know, you're thinking, wow, okay, mean reversion trade, it's on, you know, but then you get caught up in this, and then you're going to get stopped out. But you know, take a small loss in here, brush it off, move on. Okay, look for the next opportunity. I know it's pretty aggressive, Skrilla, but that's what I'd be looking for. Let me go over to YouTube and follow up with a few more questions, guys. Anyway, answering Michael's question, I would really highly recommend this. The first, at least part one. You know, I'd go through all 4 of them in here from the Learning Center on the Market Mechanics course. But another one too, strategies and setups. We only have a few in here. We're adding more to it. Okay, we have a continuation pattern. We have a reversal pattern. All right, and let me see other questions in here. Nick, we would love to add stops and icebergs to crypto. And actually, some crypto exchanges, it's actually possible. in a few exchanges, I think. But all the rest do not. They have actually something even more interesting, in my opinion. At least it's related to stops, and that is liquidations. They actually give out that information about where they're liquidating people's accounts, which is even, that's even more harsh or harsher than stops. People getting stopped out might be a liquidation. We don't know. But if they're getting liquidated, that means that they're getting a margin call. They no longer have margin. Okay, no icebergs though. We would love to have it in stocks, but we don't. Thanks, Eloise. Yeah, lots of Learning Center videos there. Absolutely. Guys, hit the like button, please, if you like this. We'll see you again on Friday, but yeah, definitely harsh. We'll see you again on Friday, but everyone have a good holiday. Few days off here from the markets, and go out and enjoy. That's what we're here for. We're here to be very professional in the markets, but to enjoy life with it. The markets will be closed. Go out and enjoy, take a few days off, recharge the batteries, come back in on Friday and hit it hard. Okay. Let's see, any indicators that tracks traders profit. Yeah, I can show you the let me show you this. It's great. I love this product here. It is we just offered it recently. It is our trading journal, and here it is here. So it'll track your P&L, total wins, total losses, your biggest win, your biggest loser, your profit ratio, your average win, your average loss, give you your equity curve, and then it will show each trade in here as well. It's great. It's based off of another indicator. You need to have this in order for it to work. And it's all free. It's all part of the Bookmap. And that is the trading statistics in here. Here, I'll open up the window and show you what it looks like. Here are all of our trades for today. Okay, so and it shows our running P&L as well right here. So I had a couple of losses, and then we made it back with this one, but we're down one tick for the day. But this here will basically take that information and pipe it over to your web trading journal. Okay, you can filter it here from time and date, also by instruments in here. If you want to look at just the NQ or something else, we can look at all of them and etc. So you can put in this. It always shows a month in here of data. Okay, but you can go back to when you started the webinar journal, which I think I started on the 21st, and it gives you your running P&L over time, right? So yeah, great product. It's all free, it's all included, and we continue to add more to it. Wow, look guys, here's our move. We've been waiting for it the entire time, and we're looking for where we're going to get our traders going the wrong way, and it's here, and it's at the also we got market timing in here with this here 11:30 right here, our European close. Okay, finally hit the target up here of that high liquidity. It was not agile enough in here to place that. I was thinking about it though after identifying these guys in here, and this looks pretty good stuff in here to trade at least up to 40, at least, and hit that liquidity. It did. I kind of flagged here, and we got our and flagging means just we don't find a lot of sellers in here, and we find more buyers able to get that next impulse move. All right, so yeah, please hit that like button, helps us a lot, able to continue on with more and more education for you guys. It's all free and included. Let's see here. Okay, Nick, I think I answered your question there. And Rajim, you should have permission. It's free. How do you utilize icebergs and stops? Okay, so yeah, well, the icebergs here, larger players using iceberg orders and this is they're selling in here. Okay, now icebergs are like limit orders in essence, but they're hidden from the order book. They're hidden orders, so we don't know how much liquidity is in a certain area, and a lot of times you'll hit an iceberg and there might not be any liquidity in there whatsoever. Now in this case there is some liquidity in here, but we're also running into an iceberg. Okay, you can see the drop here. Okay, but anyway, it's larger player activity because there's not a whole lot of retail traders using iceberg orders. Okay, and now what we have though is that context in here. Look how the icebergs in here on this move in here, they're selling. Kind of interesting. They're selling before this high liquidity in here, and look at all the retail traders getting stopped out on the upside here. Okay, so we can go through another scenario now for the day. This could set up finally that mean reversion trade that we were thinking about over here, right? And then we halted ourselves by noticing that these guys can get upended, and we saw it starting to happen. But now we have the sell or the stop run into high liquidity up in here, and we have icebergs selling all the way through. And you can look at now sellers in here, right in here, in fact, to drop it, not just to 37 3/4. The next stop would probably be down in here where these buyers came in, but I would be looking for even a potentially bigger move back down to this swing in here, which would be your high volume node. Okay, keep an eye on it. Maybe that's what starts to unfold in here after some back and forth. All right. Yeah, you should be able to get over to that YouTube channel, and if you're really interested in Bookmap as well, you might want to join the Bookmap Academy. Okay. Thanks, guys. Thanks for coming, everybody. We'll wrap it up. We'll call it a day, and we will catch up with you again on Friday. Have a great holiday weekend or a few days off. Okay. Yeah. Take care.